Hi, I'm Joe Marks, reporter with Nextgov, and I'm here with Craig Newmark, who was the founder of Craigslist and Craigconnect, but he's not here to talk about that today. He's here to talk about his recent work as nerd in residence at the Veterans Affairs Department and his work with the Blue Button initiative there to get electronic health records to all veterans. So first of all, can you tell me about your work at VA, what you're doing there, and what the Blue Button initiative is for you?
Well, basically, I'm a part of the Entrepreneur in Residence program at the VA Center for Innovation. The deal is to help push forward with improvements in real important areas like accelerating the processing of claims. You hear about the claims backlog and stuff. And sometimes the job is just to stand up for people in VA doing good work that no one hears about. Because, you know, if you're doing good work but no one hears about it, it's like it hasn't happened. And I'll talk about it, I'll blog, post at Facebook, or whatever, because people doing good work deserve to be acknowledged.
And what have you found in looking at the Blue Button initiative at VA? Is there good work being done, and what is that going to do for veterans?
Well, it's both that good work is being done that can help vets and everyone, because it's about ways to get your medical records around in useful ways. It's also a manifestation of some real cultural change. The idea is, instead of plodding along in the way that much of government and private industry does, they're doing new stuff using some of the technologies and attitudes that are prevalent in places like Silicon Valley or Silicon Alley, New York, but need to spread around more. Just the idea of talking to people and do what people need rather than what you're guessing they might need. But the medical records thing is a big deal because, you know, you don't have good medical records around and family history, that can kill you.
Yeah, absolutely. You were on stage earlier speaking with my editor, Catherine Peters, and one of the points you made is you've worked at large corporations, you worked at IBM, you've been an entrepreneur, and now you're spending at least some time in government. What do you think government can learn from the private sector, or vice versa?
Well, it's that when it comes to dealing with information, the big lesson is to have modest goals and to talk to the people you're trying to serve, and then to act on that, then talk to them again, find out if what you did you got it right, and then find out from them what's next, and then be prepared to repeat that forever. VA is doing a lot more than that than anyone actually knows, and I plan to talk about it. And also, frankly, back home, I'm involved in efforts involving medical records, some focus on privacy. But again, the idea that this is really important stuff, a lot of which I've learned from Dr. Gregory House. Aside from it's never lupus.
Yeah. So another thing that interested me that you were talking about on stage is that coming from Silicon Valley, the tech journalists there tend to be somewhat more forgiving and to understand that failure is a part of development. Here in Washington, we're not a very forgiving breed, and we've had with healthcare.gov recently sort of a major failure that everyone is piling on top of and not being terribly forgiving about. Do you have a take on that that would be surprising to us?
I don't really have very much surprising at all, because I'm just talking about common sense, bottom-up observations. Again, the deal is talk to people, find out what makes sense and plug along, and know that sometimes you don't get things done right the first time. You learn and you just do what you can to move fast and to work with your customers. I know how this kind of stuff works. I saw it at IBM. IBM back in the late 70s, a mini computer, Series 1, you're not young, you're not old enough to remember, but that I think almost failed, except that people who did a maverick effort wrote an operating system which, well, from my point of view, kind of saved it. There's others who might disagree with that, but I'm right.
Well, it's a good note to end on. Thanks a lot for speaking with us at Prime.
Thanks, and remember that, you know, a nerd's got to do what a nerd's got to do.